This is Radio Health Journal. I'm Nancy Benson. This week, no graduations, no weddings, no funerals. What it means to lose our rituals during the pandemic.
It is a big deal, and it is a big deal in the larger scope of our human need to mark a special occasion.
How to mark the passages of life in new ways when Radio Health Journal returns.
I'm Reed Pence, the producer and host of Radio Health Journal. If you like listening to Radio Health Journal, you'll also like our sister show, Viewpoints, which covers a wide array of topics from education to history to the environment. Here's a preview of what they're covering this week on Viewpoints.
But as you grow more into adulthood, at least for me, there was more regret, more guilt, more feeling remorse for how I acted the night before.
Acclaimed chef Ileana Reagan opens up about her past, present, and future. Then,
my goal is to save over $1 million in my 30s.
One woman's journey to become financially independent by 32. I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth this week on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.
Listen to Radio Health Journal and Viewpoints on your favorite radio station. And subscribe and listen anytime on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Radio Health Journal.
In any normal year, this would be the season of transitions, prom and graduation for high school seniors, commencement and maybe a new job for college seniors. In June, lots of weddings. The rituals that are circled on our calendars.
They are written into the DNA of the human species. The marking of time, the passages from different stations or levels of status.
That's Dr. Maribel Alvarez, Associate Research Professor of Anthropology at the University of Arizona.
You can think of this from anything to becoming the king and queen to marriage ceremonies in which you become part of a new clan, a new family, and certainly the big ones of life and death, birth and funerals. And graduations fall into that category to the extent that they mark, or if you will, celebrate a certain passage from college life to adulthood to the work of employment.
However, in the year of the pandemic, most of these rituals have been canceled, putting off both the celebration and the mental transition.
The anxieties we feel when we are one thing at one moment and then we will be something else. Now, to sort of provide a soft landing for these transitions, humans have created ritualized activities, moments in which we are able to mark time out of time and say, okay, I love someone, but this is the moment in which I'm going to declare it publicly, for example. Call that a wedding. Many of us attend weddings of other friends, and we sit there and we listen all of a sudden for 10 minutes, 15 minutes to vows, things that probably in everyday life people are already adhering to, but all of a sudden, everyone's attention is focused on highlighting the beliefs, the core belief systems that underscore that why we attach our lives to other people. And so rituals function in that way. I call them the soft landing of our human transitions.
The emotional devastation of losing these rituals can be very real. These events have often been looked forward to for years, and now nothing.
It is a big deal, and it is a big deal in the larger scope of our human need to mark a special occasion. This is not something that we do out of vanity or superficial motive. These are intrinsic moments of gathering, of forming community, of affirming our commitments to one another, sacrifices that parents have made to send kids to college students who have endured difficulties and who now feel that they have proven a certain level of worth to enter the workforce. By the way, if there was ever a moment for a ritual need, is now when entering the workforce is a scary proposition for many young people. So, first of all, we have to acknowledge that this is a loss. This is an emotional, psychological, and familiar sort of loss.
But while having none of our expected rituals and celebrations is a big loss, Alvarez says it's not insurmountable. People are adaptable and can successfully substitute a new ritual for an old one. Families can gather by Zoom conference, for example. But she says there's one thing to remember that makes normal rituals special. They're action driven.
You get up. You dress yourself in a special way. You drive together to the place. You arrange the chairs in a certain order. The name is called after listening to 500 names. The parent gets that moment of 2 seconds when it is their kid's name that is called. So all of these things are very actionable. It's not something you can just say, oh, well, imagine yourself graduated and that should satisfy that psychological need. These actions, however, can be replaced by other actions. And people have to come up with inventive ways. You have probably heard about birthday parties where what it is people drive in front of the house and wave at a distance, and you have a caravan all of a sudden of your 10 best friends driving in front of your home at 5 p.m. just honking and waving. Well, that's a new ritual of the COVID-19 era.
But Alvarez says it'll still leave an emptiness. A drive-by celebration or a Zoom conference aren't what we expected on our big day. She says we should acknowledge that it's okay to grieve. However, one lost ritual may never be made up in any way. When loved ones die during the pandemic, funerals are tragically missing.
This is heartbreaking. Not only funeral, but I would have to say that the many people whose loved ones are dying alone in isolation without having the ability to hold somebody's hand. You've seen on social media postings about daughters and sons on the phone consoling their loved ones until the last minute. It is terrifying to think about death in these times, but also to think about facing that in a hospital room by yourself, or being at home and not being able to go see the loved ones. The process of grieving begins before a person dies, when there is sickness. Obviously, this doesn't apply to sudden death. So we are also psychologically carrying a great more on the end-of-life spectrum when we have to deal with the loss of rituals of grieving when the person is already ill and near death.
But still, we do it. We've given up a lot in this pandemic, and most of us understand why. If we don't, it could be much, much worse.
We are accepting realities for a larger purpose, which is the protection of our health, the avoidance of the virus that shows up in pretty nasty ways, even when you recover. So people, I think, are having to think of these larger benefits, both personal and social, and then trade some of the pieces that have become part of our ways of coping and dealing psychologically, emotionally, spiritually.
And with the loss of some of our major rituals like graduations, weddings, and funerals, Alvarez says we've dusted off everyday rituals. We've revived old stories, reached out to old friends, and cooked old recipes that comfort us. In a time of crisis, they take on new significance. Our studio producer is Jason Dickey. I'm Nancy Benson.
Radio Health Journal returns in just a moment.
With everybody centered at home these days, maintaining one's health and a healthy outlook are critical. When each day delivers a certain sameness, snacking can become a comforting diversion. That makes healthy choices all the more important. Registered dietitian Courtney Romano is the health advisor for the California Table Grape Commission.
When it comes to snacking, fresh grapes are always a great choice. They are healthy and hydrating with a juicy pop of flavor and always ripe and ready to eat when you buy them. A smart alternative to processed snacks that come with added salt, fat, and sugar. Try freezing grapes for an all-natural frozen treat. They're like mini sorbets.
Grapes from California are in season now. Grapes of all colors, red, green, and black, are a natural source of beneficial antioxidants and other polyphenols, which research suggests contribute to a healthy heart. Visit grapesfromcalifornia.com for more summer cool ideas.
As people around the world practice sheltering in place, many are looking for ways to continue healthy habits while they're at home. The Alzheimer's Association has suggestions to benefit your body and brain during this challenging time. Here's Dr. Heather Snyder, Vice President of Medical and Scientific Relations at the Alzheimer's Association.
First, it's important to take care of your mental health. Meditation and journaling are ways to manage stress at home, and there are many online support services and resources. Second, stay connected with your friends and family through phone calls or video conferencing. Schedule a virtual game night. Third, challenge yourself with new activities that push you mentally, like reading about a new topic, learning a new language, or taking an online class.
Staying physically active, getting plenty of sleep, and eating well are also important for our brain, Snyder says.
Evidence suggests these healthy habits may reduce risk of cognitive decline as we age.
Reach the Alzheimer's Association at alz.org or call 800-272-3900.
And that's Radio Health Journal for this week. Radio Health Journal is a production of MediaTrax Communications. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more. And check Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify for a library of past programs. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and information about our guests at radiohealthjournal.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Radio Health Journal.
Coming up next week on Radio Health Journal.
We basically have brought hunter-gatherer jaws and teeth into a McDonald's environment.
The consequences of the shrinking human jaw, a result of our chewing muscles getting too little exercise.
Then, a theory why COVID-19 hits men much harder than young women.
The main difference is actually on severity of the disease, and that 4 times more men than women.
All that and more on Radio Health Journal.